Good morning all together. Welcome to the Enable Now What's New session for release 2005. As always, for the sake of GDPR, if you don't want your name, your face, your questions, your voice, or whatever personal information being visible to others, please disconnect now, since this meeting is being recorded. All right, folks. What's new 2005? We got a luxury time slot of 2 hours. I don't think that we're going to need it this time. There's a hell of a lot of stuff regarding Web Assistant. I'm happy to announce that I most likely will be able to present this on Fieldglass. Yeah, finally it's in. But the Fieldglass QA system that they gave me is up for 15 minutes, then it's down for 15 minutes again. So if we are lucky, we're going to hit the 15 minutes where it's up. Let's see. Besides that, there is some minor things for DA and some general changes, but let's get through this together now. As always in our sessions, whenever you have a question or you want to go into more detail, please unmute yourself and ask. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A at the end, but again, just hop in if there is anything unclear or you want to go into details. First of all, yes, 2005 was delayed for a tiny bit. This is what's going to happen. The Wave 1 updates for the cloud multi-tenant systems, that's most of the cases, that's not a valid information that I give you. That's just based on experience. EU1 and the North American tenants will happen this weekend, and then there is going to be 2 other waves. So we're going to have the full landscape being updated to 2005 by June 14, the latest, which is Sunday in 2 weeks. Okay. Again, just as a reminder, because this was a discussion that came up quite often in the last days in consulting, no chance to postpone an update if the customer runs on multi-tenant, but there is a possibility to raise the red flag on single-tenant systems only. Yeah, so if you have customers having running on single tenants, they might be able to postpone. It's not recommended at all, so you shouldn't promote this actively, but nevertheless, it would be possible if there is a reason. We can talk about the reason in that case, but multi-tenants will just be updated based on the information and awareness emails sent. Okay, the whole story is going to start tomorrow. There we go, general changes in the current release. Let's see. First of all, the first box on the left, we finally support the new Chromium Edge, which is good. Chromium Edge is basically the same core as Google's Edge browser, or at least very close, because that's the same source base. But the stores they're using for their browser plugins are different, which ended up in a decision made by development to modify the ID and the name of the plugin that we are using. So there is one called Enablement Assistant now, which is different from the former Enable Now plugin we used for Chrome. This is one thing that I have to emphasize on. If you followed the recommendation stated several months ago and several times since then, that a robust mandatory usage of Desktop Assistant might require the company-wide rollout of the plugin instead of relying on the fact that the plugin comes in as soon as one of the Enable Now clients is executed for the first time, and accepting the risk that the single individual could A, decline the installation of the plugin, and B, switch it off at any time. So that we had that discussion. If there's anything unclear, let me know and just raise hand. So based on that recommendation and the discussion that we had around the plugin, we have an unfortunate situation now that if you made your customer roll the plugin out from an administrational perspective, the the rollout needs to be redone with the new plugin, which exists under the name Enablement Assistance in both stores, Microsoft Store for Edge Chromium and Google Store for Chrome. The old plugin will still survive. It will still be in. You're going to see that in my browser in a second, but it just will do nothing anymore. Yeah? It will not harm, but it will not do. So in fact, that means if you do not install the new plugin, if there's any security restrictions that might prevent the plugin to come in automatically, yeah, or for whatever other reason, the customer or the end user of your customer might be confused because the orange icon is still in place, plugin is running, but nothing happens, and there is no recognition in Chrome or Edge. Yeah, so take care about that. There is a new plugin for both browsers, and if you forced the usage by mandatory or by administrational deployment of the plugin via the standard settings, this needs to be modified. Please inform the customers that you are aware of actively about that fact. Besides that, there is select
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Quick question. Could it be that when a customer installed already the 2005 enablement, that the 1911 is also not working with the add-in? With the old add-in?
The old add-in is called Enable Now, and the old add-in is working for any release or any content or any re-recognition happening on a release below 2005. So, but if you're saying it's already installed, that means there is no access to 1911 anymore.
Yeah, well, the customer tried the preview instance of Enable Now 2005 and had to install the...
They do not kill each other for that, for the sake of that fact, which from my perspective leads not really to an advantage. Huh? This is what you're going to have then.
Yeah, exactly.
This and that, and they do not interfere with each other at all. At least that's what development told me.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If there is issues, please drop me a private message and then we have to investigate. Yeah, if there's really an issue, we have to follow up this issue and we have to solve it. For now, the only thing I can state is, and this is the experience that I had, for me, they do not interfere.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, I'm not 100% sure there is no there is no real idea in live systems. So yeah, give me a try. This one is the new one. This one is the old one. If they are running in parallel, there shouldn't be anything going wrong. If something's going wrong, let me know, and then we have to really investigate and probably prepare something like a hotfix. For all the others, just take care. If you made your customer roll out, redo the rollout, or at least modify the whitelisted plugins in case there is a whitelist. All right, browser for content playback. Yeah, there is a producer setting where authors and only authors, we come back to that as a restriction in a second, authors can change the default the default browser that they are using for previews. Since or until 1911, it was still IE being forced to be used. And since now we have the first more or less castrated Windows implementations where IE 11 is not even executable anymore after the last autumn update. It might be necessary, so with 2.05 it is possible. So there's a general setting where you can switch the default preview browser to Firefox, to Chrome, to Edge, wherever you want, and this will inherit to SLC and executable as well. Again, there is still a blind spot that I'm going to mention and emphasize on in a second. There is another security-related functionality. Let's have a look as soon as I find my browser. There we go. On Manager, GKS-preview, which is the browser script whitelisting section. This is basically, now I have to search for it because I don't know by heart where it is. No, trusted scripts, there it was. Trusted scripts. So basically this was created to whitelist certain scripts that are uploaded to the repository. Before 2005, there was only that one switch in the permissions that allows the single contributor to upload active content. Yeah, that was this only permission that was existing. That was identified by SAP security audit as a security vulnerability. So there is an additional layer of script-related security added, which is the trusted script section, where you add certain scripts, JavaScripts, HTMLs, whatever, XHTML, whatever active content, and actively whitelist this to be uploadable and executable. Anything not on that list that comes from outside will be blocked by backend security. Yeah? So take care here. If you struggle with that same offering, send me the script and the intention, and we're going to have a look together and try to figure out what is to be done. So,
Question?
yes.
Are those scripts automatically added to the script section in the resources, or is this just an information those are fine and I have
That's the information that those are fine. And it's not about scripts added to the script section. It's about any active content that you upload, no? Like an HTML document that contains a JavaScript, like a script that is running outside. So anything that is actually content related, where you could smuggle in malcode, malicious code. On the script section, there's a generic check by default. So I'm pretty sure that additional scripts do not need to be whitelisted. To be honest, I never tried. Yeah. So what you can do is just download something from Consulting Info Center and try to upload. Usually those should work fine, because they are more or less official scripts. But this whitelisting, to my understanding, is meant to be for scripts or active pieces of content uploaded as content.
So it's preventing that any author could upload active content that someone is then executing as a user.
Yeah, that was that's actually that was actually a vulnerability. No, that was identified as backdoor. Yeah, so any author could have just created a JavaScript-based virus, put it into an HTML page, and upload it as an HTML content, and then it would just spread to the network using Enable Now as a backdoor. Yeah, and that's prevented now. Yeah, so now it needs to be actively whitelisted to actually be executed. Otherwise, it would be blocked.
Okay.
Yeah, high security.
Mike, quick question: is this something that is checked during upload or during execution? Two questions, because we had this feature preventing authors to upload active content, but it was not. It was either yes or no, and whoever could upload anything. But what happens to things that are already uploaded?
Oh, I have no clue. Try. I don't know.
Because I have a client where we have active content uploaded already, and their site depends on it.
Yeah, cross fingers, man.
Great. Okay.
And try and preview. That's what it is for. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okie dokie. New manager UI, Launchpad. Finally, we got tiles. Yeehaw. There is it. Home dashboard. Tiles. Okay. Looks good. That's the first part, right? Yeah. That's just that there is something. It's a permission-related Launchpad for manager. You will not find any further new views or new forms or whatever. This will all come with 2011. There is already a lot done in the back for the migration from the old framework to Angular. That's the first obvious and visible outcome in the new Launchpad. Yeah, you can consider that as a teaser. Yeah, it's just working in the same way as a regular Launchpad would. In preview, Web Assistant is not yet active. If it would work. In the productive environment, it will. Yeah, and it's already related to the permissions, so you can consider it as a cockpit based on original permission. So no worries about having tiles on the start page, which you couldn't, based on your permission, probably not enter or access. Besides that, not much more to say. This is equal that. Here we go. Goodie. Again, the PowerPoint is available soon in help.sap.com, and you're going to find the Enable Now buttons. So if you want to go into detail, use those. Next one, finally, that's good. Our best friend, content round trip, the Excel-based IMAN export was enriched regarding media object and desktop assistant object maintenance and creation. Works fine, I tried. You can mass, and that's most likely the most important part from our perspective. The context attribute is now supported by the round trip. Yeah, so mass modifications or destructive operations on content that are meant to be temporary. No? Like you want to get rid of everything that runs on the Launchpad, no? Or you have the full list of everything always in some context, because this is where you start your recordings. No? So the common cases for web or desktop assistant can be easily fixed in here just by doing destructive operations by round trip. Macro set is minor from my perspective. I've never dared to change the macro set of an existing object. I don't see the value in this one, but the subtype is quite important. Yeah, so subtype can be specified for glossary entries as well as for any other entity that comes with a subtype because of a specialization based on custom properties. Good one. Deleted objects will not be unsorted or become unsorted anymore as it was before. They are moved to the local trash. That is quite an important one from the perspective of clarity of the operation. No? So that was like messing up the unsorted trees the whole time. Now it's really straightforward. So if you actively use the delete method within the round trip, it will simply be trashed as any other deletion. Yeah. Work area wise, there was one bullet left. It's executed where it was executed since ever. There is not that much to see, to show or to demo. If you have questions, again, use Jam consulting forum, or if it's urgent, drop me a private message. Good, so CSV is now up to date again, very good. Again, I'm just emphasizing on the context modifications. That was our biggest ask, and that's fulfilled, so that works fine now. Conversion of media files. We had that topic already in the last What's New and in one session in between, because we realized that it's quite important. Using of media objects is the preferable way in comparison with the old attached media files that have relative addresses to the group they are nested in. Media objects have their own IDs, so they can be considered as real objects within the Enable Now data model, so makes a lot of sense. And we discussed the custom script that is added to that one node that I pointed to last time, where a script-based conversion was offered, always knowing that this should only be executed by knowledgeable consultants. This feature now moved to standard. Tools work area structure convert files to media objects and works brilliantly fine. Let me show you what it does. It does actually the same, so it's based on the scripted version more or less, but it's now in the standard. I would recommend that you point to it actively if customers are still around not using media libraries with proper media objects. So what am I talking about? This is a list, old media library. I call it a list of media. A lot of stuff in there, a media library with just some SAP standard images from our courses. So I just picked random material here. And you see already that this one is used twice, this one is used once, and this one is used once. Where it's used in those 2 pages of my dummy book called Content. And here I have a target for the converted media. And that's just meant as an example. So what can be done with that script? Quite handy. From here, recursively downwards, I want to do this. Work area structure, convert media files to media objects. This is what we talk about. So start from the author folder, include all media, existing images, videos, audios, and whatever else. Yeah, you could filter for files. That is if you want to really properly clean up and sort your stuff in different folders. That's where the older scripted version of the script was a bit more powerful, right? Yeah, so you can compare, and then if you are in the lead and you do that as a service, you can still decide whether you're going to use the one from the script from the node or the standard functionality. There is missing functionality here in comparison, but this is more robust and not that dangerous, let's say. All right, so we start from author. We got all the media in. It would work fine for me if I would only use images because there's only images involved in my example. And the advanced options say update references. Yes, I want the content being updated where the images, the pictures are used within. And now after the migration, point to the new converted media object. Well, that's good. Remove converted files, yes or no. I don't see a reason why you should keep them. So this should be mandatorily active. Why would you want things double and still take the risk that the authors are using the more or less wrong entities? So this should be mandatorily active. And where to collect the media to, that's the target folder. And there I'm going to use the new media library that I created. Here we go. So let's see what happens. A lot of stuff after authentication. Swoop, swoop, swoop.
By the way, that it keeps the old stuff is actually for me quite important. If you have connected work areas with fetched objects, they cannot be updated by this process, and you will be you need to very cleverly run the same process in the other library again.
Why are you using all the features all the time?
Yeah, no, it's great that it's here. No, it's great that it's there. I would miss it if it wasn't there.
Yeah,
because
I understand. Yeah. Just saying, why are you using all the features? Huh?
Yeah, sorry.
No one told you to. Yeah, but I got it. Sure. In a connected environment, you probably have issues then across the boundary. Yeah. But I believe you and your customer that we are talking about are the only people on the planet that ever use connection and extension for books. Most likely. There we go. Yeah, that's our result. All properly converted into media entities. The content is still alive. Yeah? Okay, the preview doesn't say a thing, but in here we still see our media. The media now points based on that one flag to the new, and the old one is deleted. And as Karim just said, there might be reasons why you want to keep it, but in that case, you just have to clearly mention to the authors, don't use them anymore. Otherwise, you have to redo this once in a while. Yeah, and this could then lead to trouble. All right. Yeah, take care here. MediaLib converted images, as you see, no inheritation of the synchronization status. Yeah? So these ones need to be actively saved to server. Otherwise, it might just work for the conversion author, but not for anybody else. So if you now would sync and close, and this would be synced, so the media would be gone, you would just say, hey, I'm fine, but no one else would actually take advantage of this, and your content would simply be broken, right? So take care. I just realized that it's not inheriting. That's better. That's solved better in the more powerful script from the node, because there you can decide whether it's going to be uploaded immediately or not. Yeah, so if you have massive libraries to convert, that's just my thought right now after trying it for the second time, I would actually recommend to use the one from the node rather than this one for big libraries. Goodie. Questions? Good. Next one. A little step for the developer and a big for us. We don't have to dig the UID parameter out of the deep links anymore. Here we are. Finally, we can easily get the UID of the single object from a specific property, very prominent on top. Is it advanced or not? Let's see. I don't know. It is advanced. Good. Toggle back. Come on. Anyway, easier to go there and create a filter for variants. Yeah, that's just one copy paste action on top. No digging down to the deep links anymore and scrolling to the back and copying wrong stuff and blah. Yeah, so that's now one specific UID, but there is not much more to say about this box. Check out data from producer is now working with extended work areas. Karim, that's for you. And surely for the others, but Karim was asking actively. We can now recursively fetch. Yeehaw.
Yay! Yay!
That means if you have content coming from an extension and you start to edit it, it will fetch automatically. There's no explicit action fetch, but it's obvious as soon as executed that the orange dot goes away. Yeah, in the little demo here in IC you see, yes, you do. It's orange. Yeah, so it's still coming from wherever. And after the customization of it, you see that the orange dot is gone, and that implicitly means it is now fetched to the current work area. That's a big change actually. Yeah, because recursive fetching simply was impossible so far. It wasn't possible, and it was not even possible in producer. Yeah, you always had to go to manager and do it one by one, which was kind of a nightmare if you want to really fetch and modify like a complete subtree of a standard content offering. That's now easy. Yeah, on the one hand, and on the other hand, and this is just one info beforehand, that led to the fact that tracking for content usage, as content usage and consumption tracking, is now possible for extensions as well, for unfetched objects, and it goes into the regular reports. Yeah, so that's two dimensions that this has, and both are quite valuable. Yeah, so this is something that you really have to keep in mind, because that was a big issue the whole time. Yeah, being not able to report how many people are using parts of the standard content, and that's possible now as well.
Mike,
yes,
can
sir?
we also undo the fetching?
Yes, deleting.
Easier.
Delete.
Yeah, but that did not work well so far. Like there were a lot of humps in deleting the material that you already have there.
Yeah.
Has anyone worked on that to your knowledge?
I don't know.
Okay.
So
okay.
I don't even know that there is issues.
Okay. Several. Maybe I need to document them.
That would be
okay.
great. So then let's just try and try to reproduce and then see whether there's still something going on. But I haven't experienced that much of an issue there, except the fact that it was a nightmare to do it one by one. But it's still deletion, yeah. So there is no explicit action called unfetch or whatever, modify or uncustomize or something. It's a deletion there still.
Yeah. And you cannot make it impossible for authors to fetch items from within producer or make it a little bit more obvious. Honestly, I'm afraid that people start editing, although there's an orange dot, and are not aware that they're breaking the connection to the base work area.
No, there is no permission, and you are absolutely right. There should be one, but this change request was already raised. Still not in.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Display of producer objects in manager. That was also quite a minor modification, but I believe it's very handy. Yeah, we were actively asking for that, saying, hey, I want to see that from the perspective of the central repository. Yeah, and that brings me to the work area, to that position in the tree, which probably helps a bit preventing full synchronizations due to the fact that since the last security updates, we at least more often face issues regarding synchronization timeouts in the clients if you have big trees. Yeah, and being always and at any time able to point to the repository from within producer, you probably can train different, yeah, and train the people and hey, avoid the full synchronization. Just take out what you need, modify it, and if you want to see the whole picture, you go here. Okay. So that's at least something that you need to take into consideration for authoring trainings, yeah, because that, at least from my perspective, changes quite a lot. This one is also quite important and gave us a hard time. I believe the NOIX guys know that was coming from your end as well several times, I know, and from the US. Can we actually modify XAML and Kerberos users from using CSV, using Excel? It wasn't possible. As soon as the mode of the user was changed, any Excel modification just went to Nirvana. Now it's possible, yeah, but take care, yeah. If you relied on the fact that it just does nothing, now it will do, yeah. So that this probably leads to another dimension of risk. In any case, it's possible, and that's good, yeah, because if you want to whatever, yeah, mass change any role assignment, or you have like a departure that should you be allowed to open content from a restricted work area, or whatever you could imagine, where you want to simultaneously use manually created roles and XAML or Kerberos linked permissions, this is the way to go. Yeah, so this is now possible by exporting users and importing them again with other properties. So performance support. Any questions so far to the general changes? Not anymore. Good. So let's see. Web Assistant, modernized web interface. I love it. I personally love it. It's so much better and it looks so nice. I'm showing you the whole thing in Fieldglass, proudly presenting the first ever public demo of Fieldglass embedded web assistant. And it's working. In the morning it wasn't, now it's working again. You see, within Fieldglass, I believe there's at least 2 people in the room that were asking and have customers asking for Fieldglass. There we go. That's the story. So Fieldglass is working. Fieldglass has one specific, and that's the standard help. Yeah? So they hijacked the standard question mark for their standard help, and we are this. Okay, this is quite inconsistent, but nevertheless, it's nice. Don't get this wrong here. Yeah, this is not standard content. Yeah, very important information. This is a demo that has been created internally, which is not shippable and not somehow accessible from the outside. This is a demo case created by product management. And for now, there is no standard content for Fieldglass available, and that's not even planned. So Fieldglass is working fine, very robust, and object recognition quality is brilliant. But they will not create standard content for now. So it's only custom content scenario for Fieldglass, okay? So we're gonna leave this open and go back. So modernized user interface, what does it do? It separates basically all the content variations that we got. This is also some kind of a preparation on the desktop assistant, web assistant harmonization, which is the core, one of the core features that will happen soon. Yeah, bringing them together, make them look same, etc. Which is the help topics, standard in application help with, for instance, some Lightbox based media or book pages for the sake of link collections. Any media object is rendered in Lightboxes, coming with specific display functionalities that are inherited from the standard browser, basically, and then the regular object-related help objects here. So that's the first. The second is this one. This is one big change that we're going to see in the next page. The short descriptions can be configured away, that they are only visible as soon as an object is focused that has one, yeah, which leads to not less space consumption. for the single entry and a bit more overview. So I like it more, but that's probably a question of taste. Learning content, same functionality, and any static link like this one is just rendered as a button on the header. And the what's new section that then points to the corresponding objects. So for me, that's fine. I don't know what your opinion is, but I like it more than it was before.
So Mike, yes, I do like it. My question is, we're looking at the vertical carousel there, and
Yeah.
S4HANA used to have a horizontal carousel. Now,
Yes.
is that still the case? And if it is, does that mean that we have almost another taskbar down the bottom?
If it's, I don't know whether this parameter is still working or not, but we can give it a try. Wait. Just need to find it. There we go. Carousel orientation, horizontal copy. Give it a try. Where are we? There are we. To do question. Let's see.
While this is loading, Mike,
No.
are you aware of any way to open the simulations from learning mode in any other than practice?
The learnings?
The simulations are all opening in practice mode, and a lot of clients want to have them in demo mode.
That was a major decision taken. That's not impossible to configure, but the demo mode is not maintained. That was a global decision made that this content's supposed to be interactive, and this is where they chosen the practice mode.
No,
Yeah,
that's for the standard content, but for the customer content, for the custom content scenario, is there any key where I can switch it over?
For the learning app, yeah, that's only working for link tiles. But for learning, I'm not aware. Yeah, drop me a line and I will investigate, but I can't answer that right now.
Okay.
I don't know. There should be, but I don't know on which level. Did you check the Excel? Was there one that points to this somehow?
I checked all the, unfortunately I created an Excel of my own that does exactly the same thing. So I went through all the objects that, all the options that are there, and I didn't find anything about that.
Okay. If not, that would be a pity. Yeah, but I never tried. I don't know. Yeah, I have to investigate. Yeah, drop me a reminder and we'll give it have a look.
Great.
Good. So user interface, Fieldglass support as shown. Yeah, good one. Yes.
The Excel, is that in the knowledge accelerator?
Not yet. I can send it. I will put it in. I just have to update it and add the attributes that were added now in 2005. And as soon as I did that, I will add it to the accelerator.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. So announcements. How to show that by closing my browser and opening it again from scratch and stealing this, copy, paste. And let's see whether it works or not. Maybe I have to really open the browser from scratch. Yes, I have. Then use our little new friend. Oh my God, I dare to open Edge Chromium. That might take a while. There it comes. As fast as Chrome, isn't it? Crazy.
No, once it's loaded, don't get them wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah. You have to read between the lines.
The fine print.
Come on. Yes.
It was not hyphenated, Mike. Enable Now was not hyphenated.
No? You're my hero. Yes, save wherever you can. So this is what I mentioned. There we go. This is an announcement, and even a good-looking one. That's what announcements do. Announcements work for link tiles only. Yeah, this is why I put this in bold. You cannot put anything else in announcement mode than a link tile. And what the link tile does is displaying content without asking. As soon as you come to that particular context in a new session, it's only happening once per session that there's a session cookie written. Even if I would reload this one, it will not appear again. After creating a new browser session, it will appear again. No, so this is what they call announcements, and this is what makes a lot of sense from a performance support perspective, I would say, because this was really missing, and it's now possible. It is once actively presented per session. It's within the regular authoring dialog, so it should be self-explaining how to maintain it and what the properties are. We won't go into detail here. So Fieldglass has a specific, which is the fact that they have a very, very good integration regarding object quality and stuff, but they refused to add a configuration dialog. Most likely this is because of their backend infrastructure. So there is this one Fieldglass tenant or instance where all customers access, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's one big thing. And within this one big thing, there is a configuration made per customer. So in fact, you as consultants will not be able to configure Web Assistant for Fieldglass alone. Simply not possible. And what you do is you have to request all the details that are customer specific at the Fieldglass account manager, and the Fieldglass account manager will create a ticket on a specific component, and this will then happen. Yeah, so take this, keep this in mind, please. Yeah, so you can desperately search for the configuration within Fieldglass, you won't find it. This is something that happens via ticket for now and for the time being. I don't know whether this will ever change. But if once configured, it is configured. Take care if you change and modify the target work area. If you start somehow doing extensions and stuff, yeah, this always has a delay because it's always via ticket. This slide will be part of the handover. Yeah, so just as a reminder, but please keep in mind, Fieldglass is special. It will be indicated, clearly indicated as well in the Web Assistant Integration Guide in the corresponding section. No manual configuration possible. So you should be pretty much aware of all the configurations you want to use, like horizontal. We just learned horizontal, vertical is not working anymore, but style, colors, and all the other bells and whistles should be aligned before you should consider a sign-off written, because then you hand it over to the ticket once, and if it's implemented, any change would lead to the same delay. Good. The other stuff that we already seen, hiding the short descriptions. Let's open it again. I added the one here in that link, help short description is false. As you see in comparison with before, the help topics, the first section here, comes with far more information, but if focusing it, it still shows the short description. So I like this mode far more than in the old version, because it's not that massive here, and you have far more content items to display. The next one, which is new, there is a close button in the help panel. Okay, there we go. That's the same as if you, they're really tricking me here. The same as if you would toggle it away or in and out using the question mark icon. So same story, but close. Okay, it's configurable as well. Help show close button is true in that case. If I switch that one off, it's the same as before. No close button no more. And closable only via the question mark icon again. switch it back on.
Mike, quick question.
Yes.
Are you coming to C4 or should I ask something for C4 Web Assistant in?
Let's go through the features and then we can talk C4, okay?
Okay.
So hiding we talked, close we talked. So that's from a visualization perspective quite nice. This one is ultra important from my perspective, the automated close of the logon window if there are scenarios where you are not allowed to use the iframe for authentication. That's also, I have in mind that we talked about it, Kurt and Karim, that there are, that's the Azure AD scenario where Azure is still preventing us from using iframe-based authentication for the single sign-on towards Enable Now, which led to an additional tab or even an additional browser instance, depending on the security settings, which was not terminated anymore. Yeah, so it was hanging around. The single sign-on window was still hanging around, and the end user was just thinking that they had to authenticate against something there. Yeah, so something has to happen, but nothing has to happen. It was already done. It was just not removed, and now it is removed. Yeah, so now there's a script that really actively closes it again after the execution. So far less confusion after that. Yeah, not more to say here, I think. UI element recognition for Launchpad embedded WebDyn Pro apps. Here, I just want to emphasize again on that fact that we talk about Launchpad integrated WebDyn Pro only. Yeah, I had at least this week 4 requests where people were presenting native WebDyn Pro portal integrated apps to me asking for the question mark. Guys, you need to really take that serious, right? Yeah, that's really something that needs to be handled from an expectation management perspective. Yeah? We do not support WebDyn Pro. We support WebDyn Pro only for applications that are embedded within Launchpads because the Web Assistant framework is provided by the Launchpad, not by WebDyn Pro as such. Yeah, so I'm not blaming anybody. Yeah, I'm actually blaming sales somehow. Yeah, because they read WebDyn Pro and they say, well, we now support WebDyn Pro. No, we only support WebDyn Pro in that one specific scenario where WebDyn Pro transactions and functionalities are embedded in Launchpads, but not for any other. Yeah, so the general prerequisite for any Web Assistant usage in any case is that we are in a Launchpad context. And if that's not the case, that will not work. If it's the case, we can now really rely on proper UI element recognition. That works like a charm. I played around with it already. So if you have customers using hybrid Launchpads with older and newer functionalities within, there is basically nothing left that couldn't be covered. Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, that they could use the old CRM4 on BSP. This would not. Yes, yeah, but besides that, I'm actually at least not aware of any productively used web front-end technology that we couldn't support anymore within Launchpads. Self-explaining, yes, we have Mexican Spanish now. And the context for media objects is in place and automatically added.
Quick question on Mexican Spanish, because in the general What's New document, it's stated that we have to create the dictionary by ourselves.
Yes, still.
Okay.
It's just now language flag, but there's no specific dictionary. Still needs to be more or less copied. Yeah, because I don't see any idioms there. Yeah, so it's a copy. Yeah, but that was just missing. I believe this will then change next time. Good. Desktop assistant behavior. Oh, that is a funny one. That was requested by one specific customer, and it just made its way to the product. We are reducing the click count again. Let me show you. Where is my desktop assistant? the desktop assistant, play desktop assistant comes. I just had stuff on my on the desktop context. No, not search, desktop. There we go. By the way, this is the new Quartz layout for desktop assistant. I like it much more. And if you have the toggle active, it's already very close to each other. So let's just go back to Fieldglass and see what happens. Yeah. So if I'm within at least Fieldglass, where's my Fieldglass gone? The toggle kicks in. Desktop assistant automatically disappears because there is a page that hosts web assistant in there. And as soon as we come back to the desktop context, the desktop assistant comes back. So that works fine, and the designs can be now made very stringent and matching to each other, because the Quartz design is now a factory default, and for me that looks far better. So however, what was actually our topic? Talking. PowerPoint gone.
Click reduction in the desktop
Click
system.
reduction, yeah, exactly. So there's usually what you have is on a match, you have the play button here, and the play button plays, and this area brings you further. Yeah, for instance, to the actual content of the text unit, to the full length of the short description, and to all the other outputs that are available on the bottom. And the mentioned feature is actually turning this around. Yeah, that means this leads to the further info, and the click on the prominent first part of it would launch this defined standard output. If it's simulations and the default wasn't changed, it would be a concurrent mode. So that's what that guy says. I'm just emphasizing on that because I believe it's not self-explaining, even if explained here. Where are we? There. Nevertheless, I don't see that much of value in this. A lot of new replacement wizard attributes. OneNote was added to the Microsoft world. You can now easily have a preset to neutralize all values of a specific parameter at once. That was a missing one, which is very handy because that really makes life easier. The preview was modified. You can play with that. It's now far better, especially the modifications around Office that are including all of the Office tools now, and it neutralizes them all in one run. So you have a big pack of Office performance support objects, just the press of a button to make them work in any occasion and for any user. So that's nicely changed. Yeah, have a look on your own, and if you want to if there is any doubts, the week after next week we have open office, so you can call in the open office and we can have further discussion here. Default text for the detail views. The content object for desktop assistant does not have a description text. There's a default text that can be changed in the glossaries. So there's a glossary entry as a fallback for all the descriptions that are not maintained. Very helpful from my perspective, because now you will not end in inconsistent result lists where parts are explained and parts are not. You can have a fallback text. Yeah, quite cool. Using media objects in Desktop Assistant as presented already. We got the media objects here. Always keep in mind that's what Karma is, and this one now works fine on, let's get back to my desktop. There we are. Something, here we go. And now we already see the advantage. Any media object, whether it's a picture or a video or whatever, just as known from Web Assistant, can be contextualized directly in Desktop Assistant as well. And we also see kind of a disadvantage because we just realized that somehow it's hard-coded, most likely based on the fact that the preview engine of Desktop Assistant is based on Internet Explorer 11, that the IE 11 is still somehow the browser to use here. Yeah? And I haven't been able to find at least a way to modify this. Yeah? So it's not taking the system's default browser as a display browser. It's using IE 11, yeah? And it's unfortunately also not using the result window as such, what would be the expectation. Yeah, so it's not, we are not on the in the goal, but it's at least possible. And if you have existing contents, always keep that in mind. Yeah? That's the easiest way to fill Desktop Assistants and bring traction and adoption to performance support, bringing things that are already in place into context. So what else? Media objects. The settings for the content window. Also an expectation issue that we fixed. That I'm very happy that this happened. Let me show you in Producer. Before, after that big change regarding the positioning, we had reduced the amount of possibilities to set the default sizes and positions here to only one, knowing that the Desktop Assistant will remind the decision the single user took regarding position and size, yeah? Which was not reflecting the fact that you usually use different sizes and different positionings for books, which could be centered and a bit larger because that's external content, versus simulations that usually live on the top right corner. So it was only one since now, and that one position was kept in mind. So if you had a larger book, you dragged it up, and the next time a concurrent mode came in, it was the same size. So it was a lot of drag and drop and a lot of hassle for the single user. That was really an acceptance issue, and that is solved by those 6 guys here. Now content, which means anything except slides, are per default sized and positioned in that way, and any slide or any book are sized and positioned in that way. And the fact that they can be configured independent from each other leads to another fact, which is their Desktop Assistant keeps track on both independent from each other. So if a single user decides, okay, for such book things, the multimedia informations, they decided a centralized larger size, and for a concurrent mode decided on another position, both will be kept in a cookie and will be used the next time. Yeah, so it's not only the defaults for 2, again, it's also the reminding of the system that comes into play here. So really important from an end user acceptance perspective, even if it's not that obvious. Reporting and analysis, work area selection for usage reports. Yes, there is a work area filter now. Should be self-explaining. Yeah? So far it was all in one pack, and now it's filterable via work area. And that's the thing that I mentioned already. That's the actual enhancement, which is quite important, especially for the validation. And the validation of the adaptation of the standard contents that we provide is that connected work areas are now part of the customer tenants reports. Nothing to show, nothing to prove, just for you to know. So then some other stuff regarding authoring. 2 new profiles. Sales Cloud was completely updated, and the Ariba object recognition was brutally enhanced. I just had one session with a customer showing that yesterday. That's really 100% now, or again, after that change. The consideration of workflows in web editor. If you create stuff in Manager, the standard workflow configured for a specific work area is now taken into consideration as well, which was actually ignored before. So workflows actually only took place in the real clients and Producer or iPro, and now that works for the web editors as well. Yeah, so it's more or less now just as expected. The instant recorder, take care. No, it's not saying instant producer, it's saying instant author. Resources overhead was reduced to the minimum. So far, if you were using Instant Recorder from a HANA on-prem or from a cloud edition, it still downloaded the full set of resources that that came from the work area. And 80% of them were for the pure recording case not even used and important. So it was just an overhead and took time, and it was not agile, because it would take ages to initially start Instant Recorder. That was again some kind of acceptance killer. Was reduced to the very minimum. Take care, not instant producer, but instant recorder. Yeah, for instant producer, there will be no changes anymore. Also minor, but quite important for the authors. Authors can now copy texts and stuff from write protected text fields in the clients. That was somehow prevented before, but by accident, it's not happening anymore. There is OLE for images in the HTML editor. That was somehow missing after the big change. So if you have a image source from the internet, one of the cat's pictures that the authors probably want to use in the content, they can now easily incorporate them by copying and pasting. I'm not 100% sure whether I like this or not.
I was just asking, where's the source image then stored? There is no source image, right?
No, there is a source image, but it's, I mean, we have three kinds of media. And since we have the media object, we have four. We have the media object, which is the perfect way.
Yeah.
We have the attachment, which is still part of the file, part of the file system, the data model, but just stored on file system and being a sibling of the object that it was copied into. Yeah, so either sibling of the book page or sibling of the group or whatever. Yeah, and then there is the unknown media, which is mentioned, and it's physically part of the slides file system, but it's not part of the data structure, and that's what's happening here.
Yeah, okay, this is what I thought. Okay,
this is the dumpest media variant we got. It's just there and it's used, but there is no affection of the data model, and that's what's happening here. So just as if you would add it to a Word document. All right. So and then active areas have been enhanced. So the active area can now hold images and links as well. This was just missing for consistency purposes, because all the other media objects could, but the active area couldn't. Good. That's it from my side. Opening the lines for questions. Kurt, you had one, I remember, regarding C4.
I have several, but one regarding C4. The point is that if you open the web assistant in C4, there is no space reserved for the web assistant. So the web assistant is just overlaying the icons on top of C4. Is it intended, or I don't know who is programming?
I don't know. I don't even been aware of that issue, to be honest.
Yeah,
I have to investigate, and I don't have a running C4 test system, so we cannot actually look together.
Yeah, the point is, I cannot show it during the recording because I know that this recording will be placed on SuccessFactors, and I cannot show a customer environment during the recording session.
Yeah, then we can have a look later. Yeah? But I don't. Okay. I simply don't, I can't answer that out of mind. We have to have a look.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was a spacing, a header spacing change. So something changed to the way the header spacing is handled. Maybe that's actually based on that issue. So there is a new parameter added. Also, I don't know why this is not in here, because it should be. Maybe I accidentally deleted one of the slides. And there is one additional parameter about the header spacing, and the header spacing is now variant. And maybe that's the reason, because C4 is acting that way. So that's just being able to make the help panel That's actually a naming convention change. So we don't call it a carousel anymore. It's now help panel.
Okay.
And the start position usually is here, and what you can do is you can change the start position. So maybe that already fixes the issue that you are pointing to. But let's have a look together later.
Yeah, okay. Other ones are related to Web Assistant on-prem S4. The point is, well, we have the web dispatcher in place now,
yes,
finally. But the point is that the document based on information from the customer is for the Fiori catalog is not that well self-explaining. I just had a look in between, and as far as I understand, is they have to follow it step by step, and they are done.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will probably reach out to this customer again.
Yeah, and if they are struggling there, they just should open a ticket and make Marian have a look at it.
Yeah, okay, will do. Thank you.
All right, anything else, folks? Doesn't seem so. In that case, I'm going to give you 22 minutes back. Last chance? Nothing?
When the full documentation will be available? There's a question in the chat from Peter.
Ah, sorry, man. When will the full documentation? Yeah, at the moment in time where we're going to have the on-premise downloaders in place, and since wave 1 for the cloud updates will start this weekend, I would expect Monday. Anything else? Caroline unmuted. You're welcome.
Just to say thank you.
Okay. All right. So if there's nothing left to discuss, I say thank you for your attention, and we're gonna keep in touch. Take care.
You too. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.